Imagine living a life where external chaos no longer dictates your inner world, where the noise of the world fades into the background and you move forward with calm purpose, untangled from the anxiety and pressure that traps so many others. That's not some distant fantasy. It's not a dream reserved for monks on a mountaintop or people who have figured it all out. It's a state of being that's available to you, yes, you right now. And the path to it doesn't require you to escape your life. It just asks that you rethink how you live it. There are three powerful philosophies that, when combined, can lead you to this unshakable inner calm: Taoism, Stoicism, and Minimalism. Each offers a different lens through which to see your life. Taoism teaches you to let go. Stoicism teaches you to endure. Minimalism teaches you to simplify. And together, they form a toolkit for living with clarity, purpose, and peace. Taoism, the art of letting go. Let's begin with Taoism, the ancient Chinese philosophy that starts with one radical idea: you don't need to control everything. Taoism invites you to release your grip on life, to stop fighting the current and instead flow with it. You don't need to force outcomes. You don't need to bend the world to your will. Let go of that need, because in surrendering your need to control, you discover something unexpected: not weakness, but an almost unbreakable strength. That strength comes from flexibility, from trust, from letting go of your attachments to specific results and allowing life to unfold naturally. Because when you stop trying to predict or manipulate everything, you open yourself to possibilities far greater than anything you could have planned. The story of the farmer. To understand this better, let me tell you a story, a classic Taoist tale. There was once a farmer whose horse ran away. His neighbors came over and said, "That's terrible news." The farmer simply replied, "Maybe." The next day, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 wild horses. The neighbors were thrilled. "What good luck," they said. The farmer said, "Maybe." Later, the farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses, fell off, and broke his leg. The neighbors again said, "Oh no, how unlucky." The farmer, "Maybe." A few days later, soldiers came to the village, drafting all the able-bodied young men into the army. But the farmer's son was passed over due to his broken leg. "You're so lucky," the neighbors said. The farmer smiled and replied, "Maybe." This story captures the essence of Taoism. Life is full of ups and downs, and what seems like bad luck today could be the very thing that saves you tomorrow. Stop labeling everything as good or bad. Let go of judgment. Let life flow. Wu Wei, the power of effortless action. Now, let's talk about a core concept in Taoism Wu Wei. It's often translated as non-action, but that's misleading. Wu Wei doesn't mean doing nothing. It means effortless action that's in harmony with the natural flow of life. Think of a river. It doesn't push against the rocks. It flows around them gracefully. That's Wu Wei. In your life, Wu Wei means not forcing things. You're working on a project and hit a wall. Instead of burning yourself out trying to push through, step back. Let your mind breathe. When you stop trying to control every detail, solutions often emerge on their own. Wu Wei teaches us to stop clinching, to stop pushing against life. It tells us that things work out better, not worse, when we trust the rhythm of the world and act when the moment is right. Simplicity and patience, the forgotten superpowers. Two virtues that Taoism holds close are simplicity and patience. Simplicity isn't just about owning fewer things, it's about wanting fewer things. It's about letting go of the endless chase, more money, more attention, more accomplishments. When you let go of that chase, you make space to truly appreciate what you already have. Patience is equally powerful. In a world that screams, now patience is a rebellion. Taoism teaches that all good things take time, that growth, healing, creativity, they're not meant to be rushed. Slow down. Stop trying to force the flowers to bloom before their time. Tend your inner garden and trust that the seeds will sprout when they're ready. Non-attachment. Freedom from what binds you. Another essential Taoist principle is non-attachment. That means letting go of your grip, not just on stuff, but on ideas, beliefs, and even your own sense of identity. Most of our suffering doesn't come from what happens to us, but from our resistance to it. We get attached to the idea of how things should be. We believe we need a certain outcome or a specific possession or a certain status to be happy. And that's the trap. Taoism says, enjoy what you have, but don't cling to it. Be grateful for the people in your life, but don't try to control them. Let your ideas evolve. Let your ego soften. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clutching. And in doing so, you become far more grounded, open, and at peace. In the next part, we'll dive deep into Stoicism and discover how the ancient Stoics built unshakable inner fortresses that allowed them to stand tall in the face of war, exile, betrayal, and even death. You'll learn how to cultivate mental discipline, face discomfort, and rise above chaos. Are you ready? If Taoism teaches us how to flow with life, then Stoicism teaches us how to stand firm in the storm. Picture a mind so grounded, so clear, that even when the world around you falls apart, when you lose money, love, comfort, or control, you remain unshaken. That's what Stoicism offers. Not by numbing you, not by detaching you from life, but by training you to respond instead of react. At its core, Stoicism is a philosophy of mental discipline, rational thought, and emotional resilience. It originated in ancient Greece around 300 BCE, founded by Zeno of Citium, and was later championed by great thinkers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, men who endured slavery, exile, and the burden of ruling empires, yet still lived with clarity and purpose. So, how does Stoicism work in real life? It starts with a brutally honest question. What can you control? This is where everything begins in Stoicism. One simple, powerful idea. There are things you can control, and there are things you can't. Peace begins the moment you learn the difference. Your thoughts, you control them. Your reactions, you control them. Other people's opinions, nope. The economy, no. Whether it rains tomorrow, definitely not. Once you stop wasting emotional energy on things you can't control, you reclaim that energy to build something stronger inside: perspective, wisdom, and power. Think about it. You're stuck in traffic. You can curse, honk, stress out, or you can turn on your favorite podcast, breathe, and realize the traffic exists whether you rage or not. So why suffer twice? The inner citadel. The Stoics had a name for this mental strength. They called it your inner citadel. Like a fortress you build within, it's a place of reason, clarity, and calm that no external force can conquer. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic master, ruled during war plague and political betrayal. Yet in his private writings, meditations, he reminds himself over and over, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This wasn't theory for him, it was survival. We all need our own inner citadel, a mindset that can weather failure, rejection, loss, and fear, and Stoicism gives us the blueprint for building it brick by brick. Journaling for clarity, one of the most powerful Stoic tools, journaling. Every night, ask yourself, what went well today? What did I do poorly? What could I have done better? This isn't about self-criticism, it's about clarity. The Stoics believed in constant self-reflection, not to judge, but to improve. They didn't aim to be perfect. They aimed to be better than yesterday. You can do the same. Keep a simple notebook, 5 minutes a night. It's one of the fastest ways to strengthen your mindset and spot the blind spots that hold you back. Voluntary discomfort. Here's a Stoic idea that might sound odd in today's comfort-obsessed world. Practice discomfort on purpose. Seneca, a Roman Stoic, would regularly sleep on the floor fast from food and wear rough clothing, not because he had to, but to remind himself that he could endure hardship and still be okay. This wasn't masochism, it was preparation. The Stoics believed that if you practice being okay with less, you'll never be controlled by fear of loss. You'll be more courageous, more free, because you've proven to yourself, even if everything goes wrong, I can survive. I don't need luxury to be strong. So what might that look like today? Skip a meal to appreciate food more. Take cold showers to build discipline. Walk instead of drive. Spend a weekend without your phone. These small discomforts train your willpower and toughen your mindset, so when real challenges hit, you're ready. Premeditatio malorum. Imagine the worst. Another Stoic practice that might seem strange at first is called premeditatio malorum, Latin for premeditation of evils. The Stoics recommended imagining the worst that could happen, not to scare yourself, but to prepare and build calm. Let's say you're about to give a big presentation. Instead of pretending nothing could go wrong, the Stoic approach is to imagine, okay, what if the projector fails? What if I blank out? What if the audience looks bored? Once you've imagined it, the fear shrinks. You make peace with it. You might even prepare a plan B. And suddenly, instead of anxiety, you walk in with grounded confidence. This exercise works for anything: interviews, relationships, big decisions. You visualize the worst, accept it, and then move forward anyway. That's real courage. That's Stoicism. Living by virtue. But Stoicism isn't just about grit and toughness. At its heart, it's about virtue. The Stoics believed that a good life is a virtuous life, and virtue has 4 pillars. Wisdom, see clearly. Courage, act boldly. Justice, do what's right. Temperance, practice balance. You don't need to be perfect, but each day you ask, was I wise in my decisions? Did I face my fears or hide from them? Did I treat others with fairness and dignity? Did I control my impulses and desires? These questions ground you. They steer you toward a life of meaning, not one dictated by momentary emotions or social trends. The power of response. If there's one Stoic truth that sums it all up, it's this: between what happens to you and how you respond, there is space. In that space is your power. That space, that pause, is everything. You can choose to react blindly or respond with awareness. Someone insults you, pause. A deal falls through, pause. Your plans unravel, pause. And in that pause, you can decide who you want to be. Angry, resilient, wise. That's Stoic freedom. In Part 3, we'll turn to minimalism, the art of stripping away the excess to reveal what truly matters. It's not just about owning fewer things. It's about reclaiming your time, your focus, and your energy so you can finally live on your own terms, ready to take back your life. If Taoism teaches us how to flow, and Stoicism teaches us how to endure, then minimalism teaches us how to focus, how to clear the noise, remove the clutter, and get back to what truly matters. Minimalism isn't about deprivation. It's not about living in an empty apartment with one spoon and a mattress on the floor. That's a misconception. Minimalism is about intention. It's about asking yourself, what is actually important to me? And then having the courage to remove everything that isn't. In a world that constantly screams, more clothes, more goals, more notifications. Minimalism offers a quiet countermessage, less but better. The real cost of clutter. Let's start with the obvious physical clutter. It might seem harmless, but it's draining you more than you realize. Studies show that cluttered environments increase cortisol levels, the stress hormone. When your home, your desk, or your digital space is a mess, your brain interprets it as unfinished business. It feels chaotic, distracting, heavy. You know the feeling, that drawer you avoid opening, that closet packed with clothes you never wear, that overflowing inbox you keep meaning to clean. Now, multiply that little tension day after day. That's mental weight. And the truth is, every object you own takes up space not just physically, but mentally. Minimalism isn't about getting rid of everything. It's about getting rid of the things that weigh you down. Digital minimalism, decluttering your mind. It's not just our physical world that's cluttered. It's our digital world too. You might not realize it, but the apps, alerts, and endless scrolling are costing you more than just time. They're costing you presence, focus, mental clarity. We check our phones hundreds of times a day, but rarely do we ask, why are we seeking information, or are we just bored, anxious, looking for a dopamine hit? Digital minimalism means stepping back and asking, what tech actually adds value to my life? What am I using to numb myself? What can I remove or use more deliberately? Try this. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Unfollow accounts that drain your energy. Set time limits for social media. Take a digital Sabbath one day a week with no screens. Your mind is not a storage unit. It deserves space to breathe. Minimalism is about priorities. Let's get one thing straight. Minimalism is not about having less just for the sake of less. It's about having more of what matters. More peace, more time, more energy, more presence in the moment. Think of it this way. If everything matters, then nothing really matters. Minimalism is about being ruthless with your priorities. Ask yourself, what people, activities, and habits make me feel alive? What drains me? What am I doing just to impress others or meet some external expectation? When you cut out the noise, your real values rise to the surface. Time minimalism, saying no with purpose. It's not just stuff that clutters our lives, it's commitments. How often do we say yes when we mean no yes to meetings we don't need? Yes to social events we're dreading. Yes, to helping someone just to avoid guilt. Minimalism asks you to protect your time like it's sacred, because it is. Every yes is a no to something else often. It's a no to your own peace, creativity, or rest. Start by practicing deliberate no's. I appreciate the invite, but I won't be attending. That's not something I can take on right now. Let me get back to you after I check my priorities. You don't need to justify your boundaries. You just need to honor them. The joy of less. Do you remember the last time you walked into a room that was clean, quiet, and uncluttered? There's something almost sacred about that space. It feels open, peaceful, alive. Now, imagine your entire life feeling that way. That's what minimalism makes possible. When you own less, you're no longer owned by your things. When you do less, you can go deeper. When you stop chasing everything, you begin to feel enough as you are. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. Minimalism isn't a destination. There's no final point where you arrive and say, I've mastered minimalism. It's a process, a conversation with yourself that evolves over time. You might declutter a closet today. Take a digital detox next week. Reevaluate your friendships a month later. That's the beauty of it. Minimalism isn't a strict rule book. It's a compass, a direction you move toward every day, less distraction, more clarity. But what about enjoyment? You might wonder, does this mean I can't enjoy nice things? Absolutely not. Minimalism isn't anti-pleasure. It's anti-distraction. If you love your books, your vinyl collection, your espresso machine, keep them. If they bring you genuine joy and align with your values, they belong in your life. Minimalism simply helps you separate joy from clutter. It asks, do I love this, or am I just used to it? The goal is to own things that serve you, not stress you. Owning less to live. More, here's the paradox. The less you own, the more you experience. When your home isn't filled with distractions, you spend more time outside with people or doing things that light you up. When your schedule isn't jam-packed, you leave space for creativity, spontaneity, and real rest. Minimalism is freedom, not just from stuff, but from the burden of trying to be everything everywhere all at once. It's the quiet courage to say, I have enough. I am enough. And I choose to live on purpose. In Part 4, we'll bring everything together, Taoism, Stoicism, and Minimalism, and show you how to combine these three powerful mindsets into one life-changing system, a way of being that is resilient, clear, and deeply fulfilled. Because peace isn't a place you find, it's something you build from the inside out. Now that we've explored the core of each philosophy, Taoism's flowing surrender, Stoicism's unshakable discipline, and Minimalism's intentional simplicity, it's time to bring them together. Because the real magic happens when these three ideas don't just coexist, but intertwine into one powerful mindset. This isn't just about theory anymore. It's about living it. When you combine these three, you create a lifestyle that's peaceful, resilient, and deeply purposeful. You're no longer at the mercy of chaos, emotion, or endless consumption. Instead, you become centered, calm, unshakable. Let's unpack how that works. Let go, endure, simplify. Here's the formula. Taoism teaches you to let go of control and trust the natural flow of life. Stoicism trains you to endure discomfort with wisdom and discipline. Minimalism challenges you to simplify your world so you can focus on what truly matters. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. Enduring doesn't mean suffering in silence. And simplifying doesn't mean stripping away joy. What it means is this: you stop reacting. You start responding. You stop chasing. You start living. How these philosophies complement each other. Let's take a real-world example. You're laid off from your job. The Taoist in you says, okay, this is part of the flow. Maybe this change is leading me to something better. The Stoic in you says, this is outside my control, but my response, that's mine. I can handle this with strength and dignity. The Minimalist in you says, now I have space. Maybe I don't need a job that owns my time. Maybe I want work that aligns with my purpose. See how they work together. They give you emotional balance, mental toughness, and practical clarity, a rare combination in today's world, building a new operating system for life. When you truly integrate these philosophies, it's like upgrading the software in your mind. You stop running on the default program of modern society, one filled with anxiety, endless scrolling, and chasing approval. Instead, you install a new operating system based on trust in nature's rhythm. Taoism, mastery over your internal world. Stoicism, intentional living and presence. Minimalism, you wake up each day with clarity. You meet challenges with calm. You let go of outcomes. You focus on what matters most. The flow of Taoism keeps you flexible. Life is unpredictable, that's a guarantee. But Taoism teaches you to stay fluid. You become like water flowing around obstacles instead of breaking against them. You're not rigid, you're responsive. Lost a client. Taoism says that's not necessarily bad. Maybe it opens up space for something better. Plans fell apart. Taoism whispers, flow around it. There's always another path. This mindset removes the panic, the need to micromanage everything. It lets you breathe. It allows space for life to surprise you in good ways. The strength of Stoicism keeps you grounded. Where Taoism teaches trust, Stoicism gives you spine. It's the anchor that holds you steady during emotional storms. It trains your mind to pause, assess, and respond with reason instead of fear. Your boss is unfair. The Stoic in you asks, what's in my control here? My reaction, my choices, my values. You feel overwhelmed. A Stoic breathes and says, okay, let's tackle one thing at a time. Emotions don't define me, fast actions do. Stoicism makes you a warrior, not in an aggressive sense, but in a deeply disciplined, grounded way. The clarity of minimalism keeps you focused, and minimalism, that's your compass. It points you back to your true north when life gets cluttered. It reminds you to strip away the excess, whether it's stuffed commitments or mental noise, and return to what's essential. You don't waste energy on things that don't align with your values. You don't chase more for the sake of more. You don't fill your calendar just to feel important. Minimalism creates space, and in that space, creativity, peace, and clarity flourish. Together, they create emotional freedom. Here's what happens when these philosophies start shaping your daily life. You stop overthinking every decision. You stop clinging to outcomes. You stop needing constant validation. You become deeply okay with who you are and where you are. That's freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want, but the kind of freedom that comes from not being enslaved by fear, distraction, or desire. You don't need more to feel fulfilled. You don't need everyone to like you to feel valuable. You don't need everything to go right to feel calm. That's powerful. That's rare. That's real liberation. Practical daily practices. Let's get even more practical. How do you bring this triad into your everyday life? 1. Morning grounding, 10 minutes. Start the day with breath work or stillness. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can let go of today? Reflect. What challenge might I face and how can I respond with calm? 2. Journaling 5-10 minutes at night. What went well today? What triggered me and how did I respond? What can I simplify or release tomorrow? 3. Weekly decluttering. Physical clear one drawer or surface. Digital unsubscribe. Unfollow, turn off notifications. Emotional. Let go of one grudge or expectation. 4. Monthly reflection. What am I holding on to that's no longer serving me? Am I living according to my values or society's? Where do I need to trust the flow more? Where do I need more discipline? This isn't a religion, it's a practice. The best part, you don't have to join a monastery, renounce society, or become a guru. This isn't a religion, it's a practice. One small intentional step at a time, one breath, one decision, one mindful choice. Over time, these choices add up. You start to feel lighter, more present, more powerful in a quiet, grounded way. Because you're not fighting life, you're flowing with it. You're not suppressing emotions, you're mastering them. You're not adding more, you're clearing space for what matters most. In Part 5, we'll dive into the art of letting go, what it really means to release control, drop expectations, and find peace in surrender. You'll hear ancient stories, practical techniques, and modern applications that will help you start living lighter today. Letting go. It sounds simple, right? But we all know it's anything but. We hold on to things, people who hurt us, jobs that drain us, identities that no longer reflect who we are, ideas of how life should be. We grip them tightly, afraid that if we let go, we'll lose control, that we'll fall apart, that we'll be nothing. But here's the paradox. It's in letting go that we become free, free from anxiety, free from the need to be perfect, free from the constant pressure to manage everything and everyone around us. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing the illusion of control and stepping into a deeper trust, a deeper strength. Let's break that down. Why we hold on, even when it hurts. We hold on because it gives us a false sense of security. We tell ourselves, if I stay angry, I'll never be hurt like that again. If I hold on to this job, at least I know what to expect. If I keep chasing perfection, I'll finally be worthy. But the truth is, holding on doesn't protect us. It traps us. We get stuck in loops of overthinking, resentment, and exhaustion. We waste energy controlling things that were never ours to control. That's why Taoism begins with surrender, not weakness, not apathy, but a conscious, intentional release. You stop wrestling with life and you start flowing with it. The story of the two monks. Here's a story from Zen tradition that captures this beautifully. Two monks were walking along a muddy road. A woman stood at the edge, unable to cross without ruining her dress. Without a word, one of the monks picked her up, carried her across, and set her down. The two monks continued walking. Hours later, the other monk couldn't hold it in anymore. Why did you carry that woman? We're not supposed to touch women. The first monk replied, I set her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her? Let that sink in. We do this all the time, carry things long after the moment has passed. Old arguments, shame from mistakes, guilt we were never meant to own. Letting go is choosing to put it down, not because it didn't happen, but because it's no longer serving you. Wu Wei, doing less trusting. Back in part 1, we touched on the Taoist principle of Wu Wei, effortless action. Let's go deeper. Wu Wei means acting in harmony with nature rather than forcing outcomes. It means moving with the current instead of fighting against it. Letting go is Wu Wei in practice. Imagine this. You're trying to fall asleep, but your mind keeps racing. You fight your thoughts. You toss, turn, and get frustrated. The more you try, the more awake you feel. But the moment you stop trying to sleep and just relax, you drift off. That's Wu Wei. When we stop clenching, solutions emerge. When we release, things often fall into place on their own. Wu Wei reminds us, nature doesn't rush, yet everything is accomplished. Acceptance agreement, letting go, isn't about pretending everything's okay. It's not saying this didn't hurt or this doesn't matter. It's saying this happened, and now I choose peace. Acceptance is the first step, not agreement, not approval, but recognition. You accept what is without denying or resisting it. You stop trying to rewrite the past or micromanage the future. You let go of what if and come home to what is. And from that space, you can begin to move forward. What are you clinging to right now? Ask yourself. What emotion am I still carrying from the past? What belief about myself is holding me back? What fear am I feeding by refusing to let go? Name it, face it, and then ask, is this serving me or is it just familiar? Sometimes we stay stuck, not because it's right, but because it's what we know. Pain can be comfortable when it's predictable, but growth, that requires release, letting go of control, letting go of perfection, letting go of the idea that you always need to be fine, letting go of control. One of the hardest things to release is our need to control everything. We micromanage our schedules, obsess over what others think, try to predict every outcome, and when life doesn't follow the script, we panic. Here's the truth. You can't control life, but you can control your presence in it. You can control your breath, your attitude, your effort, your response. But you can't control what others think of you, whether someone stays or leaves, the timing of opportunities, the unpredictability of change. The sooner you stop trying to steer the wind, the sooner you can adjust your sails. Daily practices for letting go. Here are simple, powerful ways to practice the art of release. 1. Mindful breathing, 5 minutes. Sit. Breathe slowly. As you inhale, say, I accept. As you exhale, say, I let go. Repeat until your nervous system starts to settle. 2. Journaling. Prompt. What am I holding on to today? Why let yourself write without judgment? Get it out. Then at the end, ask, can I release this just for today? 3. Visualization exercise, close your eyes. Imagine yourself carrying a heavy backpack filled with emotional weights. Now, visualize yourself removing one item at a time, an argument, a regret, a fear, and setting it on the ground. Feel yourself getting lighter. 4. Declutter. One small space. Pick a drawer, a folder, a shelf. Remove what no longer serves you. As you do, say to yourself, I'm creating space for clarity, for peace, for new beginnings. Letting go isn't one and done. Some things you'll have to release more than once. Old stories come back. Insecurities whisper again. Fears sneak in. That's okay. Letting go isn't a single act. It's a muscle you build, a practice you return to, a choice you make over and over again, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Each time you let go even a little, you reclaim a piece of your energy, your power, your peace. In Part 6, we'll explore how letting go impacts your relationships, how releasing control, expectations, and judgments can lead to deeper connection, stronger boundaries, and healthier love. Because when you stop trying to own others, you finally give them and yourself room to breathe. Let's talk about one of the hardest places to practice letting go your relationships. We don't like to admit it, but a lot of what we call love is actually control dressed up in beautiful language. We say we care, but what we really want is certainty. We say we're just being honest, but we're actually trying to manage someone's behavior. We say we want the best for them, but only if the best looks like what we imagined. Here's the truth. The more you try to control others, the more disconnected you become. Real love isn't about possession. It's about presence. Real connection comes not from molding people into what you want, but from meeting them where they are. And that requires one thing above all, letting go. What letting go looks like in relationships. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on people. It doesn't mean becoming cold or distant. It means letting go of expectations they never agreed to. Letting go of the fantasy version of who you wish they were. Letting go of the idea that you're responsible for their happiness or they for yours. It's saying, I see you. Not the perfect version of you, but the real you. And I'm choosing to relate to that, not control it. It's incredibly liberating, but it's also scary. Why? Because control feels safe, predictable. If we can just get people to act the way we want, we won't have to deal with disappointment, rejection, or vulnerability. But that's not love. That's fear wearing a mask. The trap of expectations. Expectations are the quiet killer of relationships. We expect our partner to always understand us, our friends to always support us, our parents to always approve of us. And when they don't, we feel betrayed even though we never communicated clearly or checked if those expectations were fair. Here's the Stoic approach. Detach from outcomes, stay anchored in your values. You can be kind without expecting praise. You can listen without expecting agreement. You can love without demanding love in return. When you let go of unspoken expectations, you stop turning relationships into emotional transactions. And what you gain is priceless freedom. Boundaries. The other side of letting go. Letting go isn't just about dropping expectations. It's also about setting boundaries. Because here's the paradox. The more you let go of controlling others, the more you need to strengthen your control over your own space. A Taoist doesn't control the river, but they choose where to swim. That's what boundaries are. Saying no when your energy is being drained. Walking away when a dynamic becomes toxic. Being clear about what you will and will not tolerate, not to change the other person, but to protect your peace. Letting go says, I'm not here to fix or manage you. Boundaries say, but I am responsible for how I allow you to affect me. That's strength. That's maturity. From possession to presence. Too many relationships suffer because we confuse connection with possession. We cling, we hover, we obsess, not because we're bad people, but because we've been taught that love means owning someone's attention, time, and behavior. But the best relationships aren't built on ownership. They're built on presence. Presence means listening without interrupting, observing without judging, being with someone not trying to fix or change them. It's the opposite of manipulation. It's love without pressure, space without distance. And ironically, when you give people space to breathe, they come closer. Not because they have to, but because they want to. Letting go of the past. Let's talk about another major area where letting go transforms relationships the past. Every relationship, romantic, familial, platonic, has its bruises. Words that shouldn't have been said. Moments of neglect. Betrayals large and small. But holding on to those wounds like trophies of suffering that poisons the connection. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means releasing the grip of the memory on your present moment. It's saying, yes, that happened, but I choose not to carry it today. I can forgive even if I don't forget. I deserve peace more than I deserve to be right. Sometimes the hardest thing isn't forgiving them, it's forgiving yourself. For staying too long, for speaking too harshly, for not knowing better at the time. But healing doesn't happen through self-punishment. It happens through self-compassion, love with an open hand. Here's a visual to carry with you. Imagine holding sand in your hand. If you squeeze tightly, the sand slips out. But if you keep your hand open, gently cupped, it stays. That's how real love works. Gripping too tight suffocates it, but open hands create trust, space, and safety. You can say, I love you without meaning I own you. You can say, I want to grow with you without meaning you need to change for me. And if someone leaves, despite your love, you let them go with grace, because your wholeness never depended on their presence. Practices to let go in relationships. Here are a few tools to help you practice letting go with the people in your life. 1. 3-second pause. Before responding to someone who triggers you, pause. Ask, am I reacting to them or to a story in my head? 2. Drop the rope visualization. Imagine a tug of war between you and someone. Now visualize dropping your side of the rope. Feel the release, the peace. You don't have to win. You can walk away. 3. Mirror journaling. Write down what you're expecting from someone else. Then ask, is this something I could start giving myself instead? 4. Speak from I, not you. Instead of saying, you never listen, say I feel unheard. When it opens dialogue instead of defensiveness. Love rooted in wholeness. The strongest relationships aren't built by two people completing each other. They're built by two people who are whole, choosing each other. Letting go in love means you're not addicted to the outcome. You're not trying to fix, save, or shape. You're showing up with presence, not pressure. And that kind of love, it's rare, it's powerful, it's free. In Part 7, we'll shift focus inward again to your mind. You'll learn how to declutter your thoughts, calm your inner critic, and stop the constant mental chatter that keeps you in anxiety, distraction, and exhaustion. Because peace isn't just about what you do, it's about what you think. We've decluttered your environment. We've explored your relationships. Now it's time to go deeper, to the quiet or not so quiet place inside your head. Let's be honest. Most of us are mentally exhausted, not because we're physically doing too much, but because our minds never stop spinning. We replay conversations. We imagine worst-case scenarios. We chase thoughts like a dog chasing its tail, never catching peace, only catching more worry. But what if peace isn't something you find by adding more? What if peace comes when you start subtracting? You are not your thoughts. Let's start with a revolutionary idea. You're not your thoughts. Your thoughts are events just like the weather. They arise, they pass. Some are calm, some are storms. But you are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. Taoism would say, don't cling to clouds, watch them pass. Stoicism would say, observe your mind like a third party. Don't be enslaved by it. Minimalism would say, let go of thoughts that don't serve you. Don't store mental junk. Together they teach you this. Mental clarity isn't found by adding more affirmations or productivity hacks. It's found by letting go of the mental noise that never belonged to you in the first place. The inner narrator. Take a moment and listen to that voice in your head, the inner narrator. It's always talking, judging, comparing, replaying, planning, criticizing. Most of the time, it's saying the same things over and over. You're behind. What if this goes wrong? They didn't respond. Maybe they're mad. You should be more productive. Sound familiar? Now, ask yourself, who gave that voice authority? Why does it get to decide what's true? That voice isn't you. It's a collection of fears, memories, and social programming. You don't have to obey it. The Minimalist Mindset Thought Edition. Let's apply minimalism to your thoughts the way you'd apply it to your closet. Start asking, does this thought bring me clarity or confusion? Does it energize me or drain me? Is it helping me grow or keeping me stuck? If it's not useful, let it go. It doesn't matter if the thought is true. What matters is whether it's helpful. You can hold a thought in your hands and say, thank you, but I'm not taking you with me today. Stoic. Detachment from mental chaos. The Stoics practiced what they called cognitive distancing, stepping back from thoughts to examine them. They didn't just feel something and assume it was truth. Instead, they asked, is this within my control? Am I seeing this clearly? What would a wise person do here? Try this. Next time your mind spirals, pause. Label the thought. This is anxiety. This is projection. This is fear. Ask, is this real right now, or is this just noise? By doing this, you become the observer, not the prisoner of your thoughts. Taoist flow for mental stillness. Taoism adds a softer touch. Instead of analyzing thoughts, it invites you to watch them without grabbing onto them. Like leaves floating down a stream, you don't chase, you don't resist. You just notice and let go. This is the essence of meditative presence, not silence of thoughts, but silence of attachment to thoughts. When you stop fighting your mind, it often calms down on its own. Practical practices to clear mental clutter. 1. The Thought Dump Journal 5 Minds Day. Every morning or night, write down every thought buzzing in your head without censorship. Don't edit, don't analyze, just pour it out. This simple act gives your mind space to breathe. 2. Name the noise. When a thought pops up, give it a label. That's worry. That's guilt. That's control. Labeling creates space. It reminds you, this isn't me. This is a thought. 3. Use the so what test. When your mind spirals into fear or drama, pause and ask, so what example? What if I fail? So what will I survive? Can I learn? It neutralizes the emotional charge. 4. Sit in stillness 10 minutes/day. You don't need to chant or control your breath. Just sit. Close your eyes and allow thoughts to rise and fall without chasing them. Let the river of the mind flow and remain the watcher on the shore. Letting go of mental perfectionism. One of the most subtle forms of mental clutter is the demand to figure it all out. We think, I need to find my purpose. I need to fix myself. I need a 10-step plan. But this is just more noise, more tension. What if, instead of solving life like a puzzle, you experienced it like a walk? You don't need all the answers. You need to show up for the step you're on. Minimalism teaches less clutter. Stoicism teaches less emotional reaction. Taoism teaches less grasping for control. Together they whisper. You don't need to think your way to peace. You need to let peace arise by getting out of the way. A calm mind is a powerful mind. When your mind is quiet, not empty but clear, something incredible happens. You see more. You feel more deeply. You choose with greater wisdom. A calm mind isn't passive. It's powerful. Because it isn't being pulled in 100 directions. It's rooted, focused, alive. Imagine making decisions not out of fear, but from clarity. Imagine walking into conflict with grounded calm. Imagine resting, not just physically, but mentally. That's not a dream. That's what happens when you stop feeding every thought and start trusting your inner stillness. In Part 8, we'll explore how to build daily rituals that align with everything you've learned so far, from Taoist surrender to Stoic clarity to minimalist focus, so you can actually live this. Not just think about it, because transformation isn't found in big moments. It's built in small, consistent ones. So you've learned to let go, to simplify, to respond, not react. But now comes the real challenge. How do you live it? Daily, consistently. It's easy to feel peaceful after a great book or during a quiet weekend, but how do you hold on to that calm when you wake up late, the traffic's insane, your phone's blowing up, and your mind is racing? That's where rituals come in. Not routines, not checklists, rituals, intentional acts of alignment. Moments that reconnect you to your inner compass. Anchors that keep you grounded while the rest of the world spins. You don't need dozens of them. You just need a few sacred habits designed by you for you. Let's build them together. Why rituals matter more than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. It's emotional, fleeting. Rituals, on the other hand, are structure. They carry you through days when your willpower is low and your emotions are high. When you don't feel like meditating, but it's your ritual, you still sit. When your mind is noisy, but it's your journaling time, you still write. When life feels chaotic, but your morning tea is non-negotiable, you sip, breathe, and begin. Discipline isn't a punishment, it's a gift. It says, even when the world pulls me in all directions, I decide how I show up. Building rituals from the 3 pillars. Let's take what we've learned from Taoism, Stoicism, and Minimalism and use it to design a set of powerful personal daily rituals. You can adapt them, add to them, cut what doesn't work, but the structure below offers a balanced rhythm for body, mind, and soul. Morning ritual. Begin with clarity 1, stillness. Before screens 5, 10 minutes. Before you reach for your phone, reach for yourself. Sit upright. Breathe deeply. Don't try to do anything. Just be. Let the Tao guide the morning, not Instagram. Taoism says, align with the flow. Stillness allows you to sense what that flow is. 2. Stoic reflection. 3 questions. Write or speak these aloud. What will I likely face today? What's in my control? What virtue will I carry with me? These simple questions activate mental clarity before the day overwhelms you. 3. Intentional. Focus 1. Priority. Ask what one thing must be done today that aligns with my purpose. That's the minimalist mindset, not 10 tasks, just the one that matters. Midday. Reset. The centered pause. Most people race through their day, then collapse at night. But powerful living means pausing in the middle, even if only briefly. 1. Nature check-in. 5 minutes. Step outside. Feel the sun, the wind, or the air. No podcast, no phone, just your senses and the earth. Taoism reminds us nature is the teacher. Reconnecting to it even briefly grounds you in what's real. 2. Breathing reset. 2 minutes. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4. Exhale for 6. Repeat 4 times. This stoic breath training reminds you I don't control what happens today, but I control my response. 3. Declutter your mental desk. Ask, what am I overthinking right now? Write it down or say it aloud, then release it. Minimalism isn't just physical, it's emotional and mental too. Evening ritual. Letting go of the day. Evenings are sacred. They set the tone for your sleep, and your sleep sets the tone for tomorrow. 1. The Drop It Journal. 5-10 minutes. List 3 things. What I'm proud of today. What I'm ready to let go of. What I will not carry into tomorrow. That's real stoic self-leadership. 2. Digital sunset. At least 30-60 minutes before bed, turn off the noise. No doom scrolling, no emails, no rabbit holes. Light a candle, listen to calming music. Read a page of ancient wisdom. Minimalism isn't just absence, it's presence. And Taoism teaches us to end the day by returning to the flow. 3. Body scan for surrender. 5 minutes. Lie down. Close your eyes. Slowly bring your attention to each part of your body from toes to head. Breathe deeply into each space. Say inwardly, I release, I surrender. Let your body melt into the Tao. Let your mind drop its armor. Let sleep be an act of trust. Weekly ritual, the alignment hour. Once a week, perhaps on a Sunday, give yourself an alignment hour. A sacred meeting with your inner self. 1. Review the past week. What felt aligned? What felt off? Where did I overreact? Where did I grow? 2. Plan the next week. What values will guide me? What do I need more of, less of? 3. Declutter something. A small 1 drawer, 1 app, 1 folder. Let go. Create space. Start fresh. 4. Gratitude. Walk optional, but powerful. Walk slowly in silence. Notice the ordinary. Whisper, thank you for what you see, hear, or feel. Taoism calls this returning to the source. Customizing your rituals. Here's the truth. There's no perfect ritual. What matters is consistency over perfection, presence over productivity, intention over intensity. If all you can do is take 5 minutes a day to breathe and check in with yourself, that's enough. Because every time you return to yourself, you reclaim your peace. Rituals are a gift to the future you. It's not about who you are right now. It's about who you're becoming. Each ritual, no matter how small, is a seed, and what you water grows. You're not doing these rituals to impress anyone. You're doing them because your soul deserves structure. Your mind deserves silence. Your body deserves care. Your life deserves rhythm. In Part 9, the final chapter, we'll tie everything together, showing you how to integrate Taoism, Stoicism, and Minimalism into a lifelong inner philosophy, a way of being that doesn't just survive the chaos, but transcends it. Because the goal isn't to escape the world. It's to move through it, awake, calm, and free. Here we are, full circle. You began this journey chasing something many people never find peace. Not the kind you get from a weekend retreat or a new app, but the kind that lives inside you, steady-rooted, unshakable. Along the way, you explored 3 ancient paths: Taoism, which taught you to let go and trust the flow of life; Stoicism, which gave you the strength to endure without losing yourself; Minimalism, which reminded you that clarity comes from simplicity. Now, in this final chapter, it's time to do something deeper, integrate them. Not as separate philosophies, not as trendy ideas, but as your operating system for life. This is a way of being. Let's start with this truth. You don't practice this philosophy, you become it. It's not just a morning ritual. It's how you walk into a room. It's how you speak to yourself. It's how you respond when things don't go your way. It's a presence that says, I trust the process. Taoism, I master my emotions. Stoicism, I focus on what matters. Minimalism. And when those 3 are lived, not just understood, you begin to radiate a different kind of energy. Not loud, not forced, but powerful in its stillness. The calm within the chaos. Life won't get easier. That's not what this path promises. People will still leave. Plans will still fall apart. Emotions will still rise. But what changes is you. Where others panic, you pause. Where others chase, you choose. Where others react, you remain steady. This is what real strength looks like. Not controlling the world, but refusing to let the world control you. A simple daily compass. Here's a simple framework you can carry with you every day. A reminder, a compass, a creed. 1. Flow. Taoism. Let go of what I can't control. Trust that the river of life knows where it's going. Adapt. Move with not against. 2. Fortitude. Stoicism. Meet discomfort with clarity. Control only what's mine. My thoughts, actions, and effort. Let virtue, not emotion, guide me. 3. Focus. Minimalism. Keep only what adds value physically, emotionally, spiritually. Say no to noise. Create space for peace. When you live by these 3 principles, flow, fortitude. Focus, you carry peace with you, even in the storm. What you let go. Let's remember what you're releasing on this journey. These aren't just things you declutter once. They're lifelong layers you peel back. The need to control what's uncontrollable. The stories you tell yourself about not being enough. The pressure to do more, be more, prove more. The illusion that peace comes from the outside. You're not trying to fix yourself. You're simply returning to what you've always been, underneath the noise present, powerful, at peace. What you gain. When you integrate Taoism, Stoicism, and Minimalism, not just as ideas but as a way of being, this is what you unlock. Freedom from your past. Clarity in your decisions. Presence in your relationships. Confidence in your path. peace that doesn't disappear when life gets hard. This isn't a quick fix. It's a long game, a lifelong practice. But every breath you take with awareness, every time you choose stillness over reaction, every moment you align with what truly matters, you become more you. You don't have to escape the world. There's a myth in modern self-help that says you need to disappear to find yourself. Move to the mountains, meditate for hours, leave society behind. But you don't have to abandon the world to live in peace. You just need to change how you move through it. A minimalist doesn't need an empty room, just an uncluttered heart. A Taoist doesn't avoid life's storms. They float through them with grace. A Stoic doesn't deny emotion. They transcend it with virtue. You can work in a chaotic job, have kids pay bills, live in a busy city, and still move like a monk through your day. Because peace isn't out there. It's a muscle you build in here. Your new identity. You're not a slave to your schedule. You're not the sum of your anxieties. You're not here to constantly chase, achieve, or please. You are the calm in the noise, the eye of the storm, the grounded presence in a spinning world. And this version of you, he or she doesn't need validation, doesn't need everything to go right, doesn't need to force anything. You trust, you act, you release, over and over, gently, firmly, with purpose. Final thought, you already know. Here's what you must never forget. You already know this truth. Everything in this series didn't teach you something new. It reminded you of what you've always known, but maybe forgotten. That silence is powerful. That simplicity is sacred. That life unfolds best when you stop trying to dominate it. You don't need more noise. You need space to feel, to breathe, to be. One last ritual. Let's end this journey together with a simple ritual. Right now. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply. Say silently, I trust the flow. Exhale slowly. Say silently, I let go. Now place one hand on your heart. Feel it beat. That's your rhythm. That's your Tao. That's your center. Carry it with you, always. You don't need the world to slow down. You just need to return to the stillness within. And from that stillness, live.